I am a current resident at the YWCA. When I got to the Wick Transitional House, I was indifferent and was pretty much pushed inward on myself. So I really isolated myself to concentrate on my goals. 2016, I made my way back up north, and I had to make a choice to have my kids stay there with their godparents because I wasn't sure when I would be able to accommodate for them, schooling, and they really didn't want to leave. Who'd want to leave their friends? You know? So their godparents were gracious enough to let them stay there, while I get myself situated. That was the hardest choice I ever had to make. I missed graduations. I missed proms. But it ended up being that it was better for my kids to stay there while I worked up here. I had a really bad breakup with a friend. That was another wake-up call, because it's like, okay, I'm going through this. What are my options? And the rescue mission was my only option. I came from Newcastle, so didn't know anybody, didn't have any resources, and I didn't have a cell phone either. Now, it's tough because we use our cell phones for everything. They're actually an extension of us now. Thank God for the Obama phones, if that's what you want to call them, or the government phones. That was my first step, was being able to make calls and contacts that I needed to follow the process at the Women's Rescue Mission. I got accepted into the Transitional Housing Program. That was the most awesome feeling, to be able to have a roof over my head, to feel safe, secure, and be able to breathe. I no longer had to worry about a roof over my head. It's hard to actually be able to focus and function when you've been stuck in survival mode for 15 years. It's a long time. And the program really did save my life. It was the step that I needed to take. And I was able to work on my mental health, which is the most important thing, is a person's mental health. You cannot function like a human being if you are not mentally healthy. There's no way you can do that on the street. It's impossible. You cannot do that on the street. The only thing you can think of is survival mode. What am I going to eat? Where am I going to go to the bathroom? Where can I go take a shower? It's not the way to live. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. Not everybody survives. I can't speak highly enough about Janelle Dodge, who is the ops manager. She's a case manager. She's peer support. She's amazing. She helped me out a lot. We were able to have the room to accommodate me because I have a disorder. It's called schizoaffective bipolar acute. It's not common, but unfortunately, I wound up with it. The disorder that I have, with the barriers that come with it, it can be tough to navigate relationships and how you behave day to day. God was watching over me. I was homeless, but I didn't have to stay out on the street like some other people may have to do. Thank God I wasn't there. Who knows what could have happened? You never know. And luckily, I was saved and made it to the transitional house, and I stayed there for about a little over a year. And I graduated the program. That was my main goal, to get through the program, because it's not easy. It takes getting to know yourself and having the will to say, this is what I'm going through, and this is what I'm going to do about it. And I made it through. So my barriers, been to prison, my mental health, the fact that I'm a female, but my barriers are no longer holding me back. And that's because of the Wick Transitional House. I used my time wisely, and I wasn't closed-minded about it. I was able to stay open-minded. At first, the first week, not so much. I was a little, I don't know, apprehensive about it. I don't know. Is this gonna work for me? Is this a good fit? And am I really okay? This is where survival mode comes in. You have got to really fight getting out of survival mode. You're not going to be able to make the right choices you need to make if you're stuck in survival mode. And I was able to get out of survival mode. I spent 15 years in survival mode. And that's another barrier that I had, that I was able to annihilate. I like that word for that. It fits. Annihilate. Yes. But I annihilated those barriers with the help of Janelle and my will to want to do better. And I was able to do better. For anyone who says that this program doesn't work, they're full of crap. Because you have to find your will to say, I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I wouldn't have been able to say that had I not gone through the program. It really, really gets you to go inward and really work on yourself. And I guess this is kind of like my testimony here. I didn't even think of it that way. But I wouldn't know. I don't know where I'd be without the program. I mean, I had my own place. I have my own place. I'm happy about that. I'm very ecstatic. This was important, and I'm I'm just so blessed. I love school, and I'll be planning to go back for my master's, and classes start in January. So, well, yeah, I'm gonna go for my master's. So that's my next goal.
That's exciting.
I am excited.